What is up, everybody, and welcome to 2025. So I think this year is going to be incredibly interesting for cryptocurrency in general because we have Donald Trump coming into office, who is generally more bullish on cryptocurrency and more accepting on cryptocurrency in general. So that should overall be good for our bags. On top of that, we have hopefully inflation continuing to decrease over time, month to month. We will hopefully have lower interest rates and the Fed starting to pivot from QT to QE. We discussed many of these different topics throughout 2024 when I was making videos regularly, and overall, a lot of that stuff has come to fruition. I mean, Bitcoin went well over $100,000, which is incredible to see, and to be honest, it's been something people have been talking about since I joined crypto in 2016, and that has recently taken place. And I think this year could be setting up for a great year for our investments in general. At least that's the hope, and obviously we are pretty biased when it comes to that stuff because we want all our bags to do really well. We want our investments to do really well, so we can take profits later down the line. And so a lot of things are going to have to line up for all of that to happen. I think this month, January in particular, is going to be interesting because it's a new tax year. And we also have Donald Trump coming into office on the 20th or whenever the inauguration takes place. So I suspect that this month might be relatively calm leading up until that Trump catalyst takes place. And then historically, if we look at some of the data, February and March can actually be good months for crypto in general. So we'll take a look at all that stuff. We'll also go over quite a few different pieces of my portfolio that I have for this year in 2025, and then we'll wrap up the video there. All right, so first off, let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. And like I was saying earlier in this video, Bitcoin went to about $108.5 thousand per Bitcoin. So once again, pretty incredible to see. We've been waiting for something like this for forever. And to be honest, for a lot of people who've been in the space for a long time who are bullish on Bitcoin, this was just a matter of time. It has a finite supply. It has a lot of bullish catalysts going for it. And in general, markets will trend up unless they have a reason to go down. And there was a lot of reasons for the market to go up and not as many reasons for the market to go down over the past year. So therefore, we get $100,000 Bitcoin. So I don't really know. Nobody really knows what's going to happen this year in 2025. But in general, post-halving years, so the halving took place in April of 2024 last year, are usually the best years for a crypto bull run. That's where we see the biggest gains when it comes to altcoins. That's when we see the biggest gains and the biggest run from Bitcoin. And you know, that's playing out slightly different this cycle because we have seen a new Bitcoin all-time high pre-post-halving year. And whether or not that's going to be bearish or bullish, in my opinion, hopefully it's bullish, remains to be seen. But I think Q1, Q2 will be relatively important for how Q3 and Q4 of this year is going to shape up. But if we look at the data, we will see that Q3 and Q4 of post-halving years for Bitcoin and in general altcoins are usually really, really solid years. So we're now taking a look at Bitcoin's monthly returns from year to year. And as we can see here, in 2024, February was a 40% gain, March was a 16% gain, in 2023, it was a 0.03% gain and then a 23% gain in March. And so let's bring it back and take a look at January, where last year was basically flat. 2023 was a 40% gain. 2022 was a negative 16% gain. But in general, looking at this data, February, most times on average, right, is a good month for Bitcoin. New tax years, starts of new years where people have fresh portfolios in mind, where they have fresh perspectives and a fresh take on crypto in general. What we're seeing, and I think what's interesting about 2025 is not only is it a post-election year, it is a post-halving year. And so if you take into consideration that Donald Trump, you know, I don't really care where your politics lie, is more crypto friendly, and we also have the Bitcoin halving post year in general is a good year for crypto. I think things are lining up, you know, as long as there's no black swans or inflation gets out of control or a bunch of other things. This year, I hope, we're all hoping, is a great year for crypto. And I will link this down below in the description. You want to take a look at all the averages and how Bitcoin's done from month to month to month. You can also take a look at all the different post halving years. You know, it happens every 4 years. So every 4 years, Bitcoin halving takes place, and then take a look at the year after and see how gains did. One of the other major parts of this channel and also, you know, our cryptocurrency journey has been NFTs. And if you started watching this channel in 2021, whenever I started making videos about NFTs, you know, there was insane amounts of money to be made. And what we saw is a lot of these NFTs fell to the very, very depths of despair, and floor prices crashed to the lowest they've been in basically ever, and volume dried up to basically zero. But what we've seen in the past 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 months is a steady increase and interest in NFTs once again. And so I think this is because we had a crazy Bitcoin run, then we had a ton of speculation around meme coins and people making a ton of money in that. And then, you know, we also had certain altcoins go on crazy runs, like XRP went to like $2.50 or something crazy like that. That was like pretty close to its all-time high when I joined crypto in 2016 and 17. And so I think some of those profits are finally trickling down into NFTs. But that being said, it cannot be understated that Pudgy Penguins was the catalyst for this recent NFT volume and recent NFT price action. They went to 35 ETH each relatively recently, and that was due to their native token, the Pudgy Penguin token, Pengu, being airdropped to all of these different NFTs. And if you had bought Pudgy Penguins, you know, for 4, 5, 6, 7 ETH, 8, 9, 10 ETH, and then you got this airdrop, you were massively in profit, and now they're still sitting at over 20 ETH per NFT. So I think what's happening is people were looking at Pudgy Penguins go on a historic run where they went to over $100,000 per NFT. Then they got airdropped this coin that went to a multi-billion-dollar valuation. So the Pudgy Penguin ecosystem made a ton of money, and therefore got a lot of people excited for different projects that are going to be doing a similar model. So the two main projects that are getting a ton of attention and have a ton of hype around them when it comes to, I buy this NFT and I get an airdrop for a token they're launching that is going to be attached to this NFT that I can only get access to if I own this NFT, are going to be Azuki as the main one. And as you can see here, they are about to breach 13 Ethereum floor price once again. And so seeing Pudgy Penguins run to 30 plus ETH and their token doing super well, I was like, okay, I'm going to buy an Azuki, and then I'm going to sit on that Azuki, and then hopefully the attention pivots from post Pudgy Penguins launch into Azuki to where they're going to launch their anime token probably this month in January or in February of next month. So I bought an Azuki for 7 ETH, and now they're worth 13. So I'm obviously up, you know, 20 grand or whatever that is in Ethereum, but I do think these are probably going to run, in my head, probably close to 20 ETH per NFT before the token launch. There's going to be announcements, there's going to be trailers, there's going to be tokenomics that they're going to share, there's going to be a bunch of marketing and hype on the timeline. And so I do see these probably getting really close to 20 ETH, if not slightly over, and then I'll probably look to offload my Azuki there, and I'll count that as a great trade. But yeah, I think Pudgy Penguins, all that hype, all that money, all that interest has sparked NFTs to see a surge of volume, and a lot of that volume is going into Azuki. Another project that I'm holding that is doing a similar model that is a lot cheaper is going to be Jirasan, and they are below 1 ETH. They're around 0.83 per NFT in terms of Ethereum, and I own 25 of these, right? So I own a bunch of these. I bought them all between 0.4 and 0.6 ETH. And so I'm up quite a bit on this trade as well, but they're doing the same thing, right? You buy this NFT and you get airdrops for their redacted token that's launching either this month or next month or very, very soon. And Jirasan is also getting quite a few other airdrops. So they're getting the redacted token airdrop, they're getting the AI agent token airdrop, and there's one more, I believe Ramp X is doing a token airdrop for Jirasan as well. And I believe PG Capital, the PG Corporation, that is the umbrella company for Jirasan and owns equity in a lot of these other products and projects that they're making, like RampX and BullX and different things. They are offering airdrops to this NFT because they have stake in those other projects. They can use that as leverage to be like, okay, we would like tokens for our NFT, and hopefully floor price goes up for investors and holders as some of those projects get closer to TGE, token launch, or you know, announcements take place and marketing takes place, etc. So, you know, I think Pudgy Penguin sparked this. Azuki is seeing a huge run from those profits, and I think Jirasan has also seen a decent bit of those profits flow into them too. I think Jirasan is going to be over 1 ETH for sure before launch, hopefully higher, but I would say 1 ETH is a pretty safe bet. I would probably look to offload a decent portion of my position over 1 ETH. I've done the whole buy NFTs, hold for the airdrop, you know, get the vesting, get the token drop, get the token drip, etc. And for me, I just don't necessarily want to handle that during this cycle. I want to be as liquid as possible. So I'm probably going to look to offload my Azuki and offload a decent chunk of my Jirasans as the hype grows and gets closer to token announcements. So in terms of NFTs, I hold Captains in Meme Land, I hold Jirasan, and I hold an Azuki. That is my NFT portfolio. There's a ton of tokens that you could go down the list of and say you should buy this token airdrop's coming. I don't like to diversify too much. I like to concentrate my portfolio into a few high conviction bets and then take profits on those. So those are my plays for this NFT mini cycle, whether it lasts into the year or if this is the Pudgy Penguin kind of hype catalyst that's causing this and it's relatively short term. I don't know. That's my current play for NFTs. When it comes to large token positions that I'm holding, one of my biggest positions is going to be in Hype token. And this is the Hyperliquid protocol. This is the Hyperliquid platform. And this token has done an insane run since they did their airdrop recently. And I think the numbers are, if you traded on this platform, this protocol, for even just a little bit of volume, you basically received an airdrop that was worth 5 to 6 figures after this crazy run up to a, $8 billion market cap. And this is crazy to see because you could have done leverage trading on the Hyperliquid platform and gotten absolutely wrecked and liquidated and made all your money back and way more. So this airdrop was huge. They've basically given a bunch of their users a ton of money. And when you give your community and you give your token holders a bunch of money, they will support you and they will market for you on the timeline and they will bull post for you on the timeline. And so what's so great about big airdrops that reward the community and are community centric and focused is you basically weaponize this giant blob of people that will bull post for you and market for you, and they become one of your best marketing tool assets that you could basically pay for. You'd probably have to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to get this many impressions, but this is all organic marketing because, hey, this protocol, this project that is doing some really cool stuff and has a ton of volume gave me a bunch of money, therefore I'm going to support them back. So Hype is a large portion of my portfolio going into 2025. As you can see, the chart looks absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it launched at around $3 to $5, I would say you could get into relatively easily, and then it just was up only for a long time. And then since it's been over $20, it reached a peak of about $35 and then since has seen a sell-off. And I think that has to do with quite a few different things. One, people are in January of 2025, a new tax year. So if they sell now, if they sell this Hype airdrop now, they don't have to pay taxes on that until 2026. So in my head, quite a few whales are selling off their positions now, so they can lock in those tax gains for next year, but they also don't have to worry about those tax gains until next year in April if you live in the United States. Obviously, this is different everywhere, but this is still an insane chart. People have been kind of getting a little bit scared and kind of fighting Hype on the timeline, I think, but it literally went from $3 to $5 to $35 in like a month. Like, it was the most insane run ever, and if you had bought anywhere under $20, you're still up. So it's basically been up only since, and it's just now seeing its, first real decent correction. So we'll see how this plays out. It's a large portion of my portfolio going into 2025. So speaking of other tokens in my portfolio, I'm also holding a decent position in Vapor, which is a AI infrastructure play on the Hyperliquid network. It's sitting at around $135 million of market cap, and it basically has no competition at all on the Hyperliquid platform because to get listed on the spot listings here, you have to spend a bunch of money and there's a bunch of requirements and stuff. So this is also a portion of my portfolio. I just wanted to briefly mention that it's an AI play. I want to have some meme exposure. I want to have some AI exposure. I want to have some infrastructure exposure going into this hopefully crazy bull run in 2025. And this is one of my AI bets. Another update on my portfolio, I'm holding meme still. It's had a really tough time. There's been a lot of FUD about meme land on the timeline recently with, Ray and Char, the two leaders of that project, not being communicative enough. There's been delays. There's, a lot of other projects are pumping and memes not pumping. A couple weeks ago, went all the way up to 18, 0.01867, whatever was the peak. And now we're back down to 0.01, 0.012, basically. So had a huge sell-off. I think this is pretty common for NFT projects that launch a token and then there's a long vest attached to it and there's a large token drip attached to it. I mean, holders have just been selling this whole time, right? Because it's just free money because they bought in early. They probably sold the majority of their stack around here. So they're riding basically free. There's no risk. And so all of the money that they're getting dripped every day, all of the tokens that they get unlocked every day are free. So why not sell them and lock in those profits? For me, I'm still holding a decent bit of my meme and I'm still holding all of my captains. I do think if we see a large altcoin rally in 2025, this token is going to see a lot of that volume come into it as well. And so I'll sell then. But until then, I'm just going to continue to get my meme tokens and stake it in stake land to get those airdrops and go from there. I'm not too worried about this position. I don't think the team's rugging. I don't think they are not considering holders. I do think the new art is coming. I do think some really cool stuff is coming in the future, in the near future as well. And so I'll just continue to hold these tokens, whether or not, you know, it goes lower or it goes higher in the short term. Not too worried about that. I think in the future, if Bitcoin dominance can go back down to like even, let's see, let's go to the 1-day chart on the Bitcoin dominance chart. So side tangent, but also super relevant to altcoins and us wanting our altcoin bags to go up, we need to really be paying attention to Bitcoin dominance. And there's another big YouTuber on this platform that dwarfs me in size like crazy, Benjamin Cohen, which I'm sure some of you guys have watched, but he talks about Bitcoin dominance all the time. And it's essentially how much of the market share Bitcoin has versus how much of the market share altcoins has. And if you look at it, Bitcoin dominance has been in an uptrend for months and months and months and months. And it recently topped out around 61.6% and then went all the way down to 54%. And that's when we saw like coins like XRP and a lot of legacy coins do crazy numbers because money was flowing out of Bitcoin. Money was leaving Bitcoin and rotating into altcoins. So now we bounced back up to 60% and then got rejected, which is good to see for altcoins. And now we're sitting at around 57, 58%. Okay. So if you scroll back, Bitcoin dominance usually bottoms out around 40%. Let's say 40%. And it has a lot of volatility between 50 and 40%. So the altcoin season to me doesn't start until we start to see a breakdown of Bitcoin dominance like this. Like it would have to go from whatever it is at now, 57% to 50% to 45%. And then if you're seeing all of that liquidity leave Bitcoin and flow into altcoins and Bitcoin dominance is going lower and lower and lower, and we break this uptrend and we start this crazy downtrend, we're going to see altcoins surge. That to me is altcoin season. I don't think we've seen that. I think we've seen an altcoin season for sure, but we haven't seen the altcoin season, the one where like every coin is up 100, 200, 300, 400, 5%, and Bitcoin dominance is just getting absolutely nuked, right? We haven't seen this. We haven't seen this large capitulation candle for Bitcoin dominance. Once we see this, I think if for whatever reason in 2025 or God forbid 2026, we see Bitcoin dominance in the high 40s to low 40s or even high 30%, I'm selling all of my altcoins. I'm selling every single altcoin I own, and I'm either putting that right back into Bitcoin or I'm putting that into USDC, and I'm sitting on that money. To me, that is an altcoin season if we're seeing this sort of dominance level. And I think this is going to be a great chart to follow to figure out when the top for altcoins might be relatively, right? Like it could be a couple months off, it could be a couple weeks off, or it could be perfect. You don't know, but for me, I will for sure be selling my altcoins between 40 and 45% Bitcoin dominance. To me, that's when I'll be offloading all my altcoins and either putting that back into Bitcoin or cash. So be on the lookout for Bitcoin dominance. It's really hard to say we're in an altcoin season when Bitcoin dominance is at 57.68%. If we are seeing this again, but instead of bouncing off of this 55% level, we continue lower and we continue lower and we continue lower, then it's altcoin season. Let's start selling our bags and taking our profit. Okay, so we talked about different projects I'm holding. We talked about my overall outlook for 2025. We talked about Bitcoin dominance. We talked about these different things. We talked about NFTs. So I have a portion of my portfolio in NFTs. I have a portion of my portfolio in high conviction coin plays. And then I have a portion of my portfolio in smaller coins, which I'm not going to talk about in this video. And also a portion of my portfolio that I use to rotate around to chase all these different narratives and to trade meme coins with and to trench around and buy these like rug crap projects that go up and down and up and down. And you can kind of scalp gains and make crazy gains throughout the cycle. And we do a lot of that in my Discord. We do leverage trading. We have callers to talk about different crap coins that are coming out and different buy and sell levels for leverage. So if you're looking for a really great crypto community that's super small, we're capping my Discord community at 100 members. We're at around 70 right now. Once we get 100 for the rest of the bull run, we'll be capping it there. I personally like small groups that the quality is super high, but doesn't overload the community with random information. So, if you're looking to trade meme coins or trade on leverage or get NFT whitelist or all those different things, check out my Discord in the description below, and you can use code MEME, M-E-M-E, to get 15 to 20% off, whatever it is, for your first month. So make sure to check that out in the description below. So to close this video up, I think 2025 is going to be a great year for crypto. That's my bias, that's my hope. Like I said, if Bitcoin dominance gets to the 40%-ish levels, I'll be selling all of my altcoins in mass and looking to take as many profits as I can. One thing everybody should focus on who's watching this video is taking profits, changing your life financially, locking in those gains and buying real estate or stocks or more less volatile assets, and then keeping a portion of your portfolio in crypto or Bitcoin and keeping a portion of cash on the side to buy dips and keeping a portion of high volatility, high risk basket of your portfolio that you can trade with and mess around with and try to make more money with. So there's a lot of ways to navigate the crypto space, but in general, that's how you want to play it. You want to hedge in a bunch of different directions. You want to concentrate your portfolio into high conviction plays and low conviction plays that you trade in and out of and rotate capital around. And overall, you just need to be a believer in the cryptocurrency space on where things are headed. I've been in crypto since 2016. And, you know, Bitcoin's gone from whatever, $100 to $100,000 over that course of when it was created in 2009. Cryptocurrency has a lot of really good reasons to continue higher with the Trump administration coming in and more regulation and things just getting more solidified and things getting more legitimate. Better projects coming out, better products coming out, all these different things. So 2025 should be a great year. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you guys in the very next video. We're going to talk about how to trade meme coins, and I'm going to do a whole tutorial on exactly what to look for, best tools to use, the best groups to be in, etc. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll see you guys in the very next one. Peace.